What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Darwinz Theory. My name is Darwin and this is my theory. So today we're just going to keep it kind of short and sweet. Sorry I haven't been filming much. I meant to do it a lot sooner, but just been busy with life. You guys know how it goes. Been doing a lot of urban exploring recently out there in Kingston. You guys could go check out my other YouTube channel or Instagram. It's called Life of Deeg if you want to see any of that. It's pretty interesting and it actually ties in technically with what I'm talking about today. Essentially what I do to keep myself happy, sober, and sane. It's part of it, you know. So today's episode is essentially going to be on the topic of, so now you've quit drinking and you've decided to make better choices with your life, but what are you going to do to fill the time? Because I think that's one of the biggest issues for people, is not knowing what to do with themselves when they do get sober per se. And I just want to clarify, by sober I mean, you know, whatever works for you. Like for me, sober is not drinking to the point where I just get fucked up, and really for me that's not drinking really at all. But I'm not going to say I've been dead sober, because I will have a beer here or there, but and this is a risky line to walk, but my rule of thumb is I always want to be sober enough to drive, and I've got my full license, so I can, you know, drive after a beer, maybe two over a span of a night, right? And when I drink, that's usually how it goes. Like, I drank for the first time in a while last weekend, and before that, I pretty much haven't drank all summer. So that's my version of sobriety. I do smoke weed, but that's about it. And even that, I don't smoke too often, because, you know, I really appreciate having a clear mind. That means a lot to me, you know, and I feel like I would have lost my mind if I continued the way I did, you know, because I'm a strong-minded person, but my mental health issues and anxiety really get to me. So even with the weed smoking, you know, some days I'm not going to say worse, but some days I, you know, smoke weed more than not, or more often than I would normally, but most of the time I just use it to fall asleep every couple of days, you know, if I can't. But so yeah, anyways, this is more gonna be about what to do once you've gotten sober, and whatever your version of sober is. I know everyone's different, but I'm just gonna talk about what worked for me. I certainly do not have all the answers for this, and you know, I'm still young in a sense. I'm still figuring things out, you know. It's important to me, you know, always realizing that you still got stuff to figure out, you know. I think on a tangent here, I think one of the biggest mental mistakes people can make, especially at a young age, you know, 18 to 25, is thinking that you know everything about the world, like you've got everything figured out. Yes, you know, you can feel like you're doing stuff right, but you've got to, you know, be humble and willing to learn, and, you know, realize that there's still a lot more you can learn. Every day you can learn something new from someone, because maybe the way you're doing it isn't the best way. But anyway, so you're sober, you're headed in the right track, but what are you going to do now? So for me, then, this does not happen overnight. This took years for me to get to this point, you know? Like, really what I'm getting at is you really got to learn how to appreciate the little things if you want to be happy in life. And, you know, I think like drinking and depression, they all go hand in hand. So I'm trying to go this direction, you know, where it's like sobriety and happiness, because I truly believe that the only way you're going to find true happiness is by having a clear mind, because you need to be able to experience everything and emotions and all that in its fullest form, if you guys know what I mean. And that doesn't happen overnight. Like, if you're, you know, drinking often, your mind gets clouded. It's like a fog in a sense, and you don't see any other way. And, you know, I was like that for years. Like, it took a lot mentally to stray from that mentality of just, you know, because like they say, you know, it only takes 21 days to kick a habit, which I personally believe, like, bodily wise, and, you know, form a new habit in the same 21 days, right? Which is possible, but 21 days is a long time when you're, you know, trying to get your shit together. You're bored as all hell, right? Like, you just don't know what to do with yourself, and you get anxiety. I fully understand that. But yeah, for me, it was just starting to enjoy the little things. And I hate to say it, but I think jail helped me a lot. You know, I was just talking with a buddy the other day about, like, you know, one of the major things I love about not being in jail, you know, I mean, other than I have my freedom, but you don't really realize, without having been to a place where, you know, you get everything taken from you, you don't really realize, like, all these little things that matter. Like, I was just talking with my buddy about, like, I'm so happy that I can just go into my own freaking fridge and eat food whenever I want. I don't have anybody telling me when I can eat, giving me crappy food, never having enough food. You know, so that's one thing. I really appreciate food. I don't know. That's my thing. I appreciate, you know, eating with good friends and conversation, whatever, like little things like that. That's what I mean, you know, and you know, just stopping to smell the roses, and that might be, you know, a term that might be hard to comprehend for some people, and it was for me for years. You know, a friend Kate, good friend, and she said to me, she's like, pretty much seemed like, you know, you're enjoying life, but you don't stop to smell the roses. And it took years for that to really set in, but I think now now I'm better at that. You know, it's kind of like appreciating the beauty that's around you. You know, you really have to, because like it's kind of hard for me to explain and even comprehend myself, but like if you've always got to be drunk or intoxicated to go anywhere, you know, like, you know, all of us as teenagers, we could turn, you know, a boring parking garage into a fun time because we were all drunk, right? So it's like, when you have that mentality where everything's just I gotta be intoxicated to do this or that, you're not really appreciating what's around you, like the beauty around you. Like, we live, you know, I'm from Ontario, and we got a very beautiful province, very beautiful country, and you know, the whole world is beautiful, really. But so I find, like, for me, the photography really helped me appreciate all that. You know, it's like, it's hard to explain, but I kind of look at it like photography is like my happy eyes, you know. It's like when I take a picture and see it makes me happy, you know. And I feel like it's like photography is like the eyes of no judgment, you know. No, like, cameras don't judge like we do when we look at something, you know. Yes, you can change the settings, but what they see is what they see, and they perceive it with no judgment, if that makes sense. Like a camera, compared to us, when we look at you know, everybody sees things a little bit differently, you know, and your average person isn't going to be like, and not that I'm like, you know, stop to smell the flowers or look at flowers, even though I do appreciate it, but just find like there's beauty all around us, you know, and a lot of people just miss that fully. Like, that's why I take pictures, you know, to capture beauty that I think people miss, and things that I think are cool to take a picture of, right? And I think I do a pretty damn good job at it. That's my opinion, but you know, to each their own. But yeah, I think it's all about, like, you know, not only surrounding yourself with the right people, but appreciating the little things that life has to offer, you know. Like, that is the key to happiness. I was just telling a friend the other day, or that's my key to happiness, you know, everyone's different, but I was just telling a friend the other day, I just lost my train of thought here. Oh yeah, I was just telling my friend the other day that I think, like, happiness is like finding as many cheap hobbies that literally cost no money to do. And I mean, I know a camera costs money, but if you quit drinking or doing drugs, you'll have lots of money to spend on something like a camera or something like a hobby, whether it be RC cars, it could be pit bikes. Like, motorcycles is a great thing too. Yes, you might still get into a little bit of trouble, but if you're someone like me who likes to live life on the edge, and I like the excitement, like my high is like adrenaline or life, as you could call it, you know. And I know that can be dangerous, but I find it's a hell of a lot better than the life of misery that drinking and alcohol brings on, right? So and I find it's pretty natural, right? It's a natural high, and it's been doing wonders for me, at least, you know. Like, I don't know, it's a crazy hobby, but like, I do a lot of urban exploration, and like, that's like, shit's like an adventure every time, you know. I'm always excited to know what's around the next corner. Like, you know, I know it's not the best way, it's not exactly legal, but you know, I find that it's not morally wrong, and that's mostly what matters to me. You know, I live life based on my own morals, you know, and I don't recommend this to everyone. Like, I respect the law, I care about the law, but you know, some things are silly, and like I said, my morals doesn't exactly fall in line with the law, you know, and I'm sure everybody can understand that. And the law has had some corrupt times, you know, in the past. I'm not going to go into it, but, you know, I find if you develop your own morals and values and think for yourself, you'll be just fine, you know, as long as you know what right and wrong is. But anyways, yeah, like, I spend a lot of my time, like, on a Friday night, you know, instead of, you know, even though, like, I still get that itch to go out. Like, when Friday night rolls around, it's, like, almost, like, brings back memories, you know, Friday, Saturday night, like, I get that itch to go out and party or, like, you know, talk to chicks, whatever, but I fulfill that excitement by going out and riding my motorcycle, urban exploration, photography. I love to climb things, get on rooftops, like that. That brings me, like, real joy, you know, real fulfilling joy, where I don't wake up feeling like shit the next day. I've got all my money. It costs me nothing to, you know, sneak around an abandoned place or climb a tower. It might cost me if I get caught, but, you know, I'm willing to accept that because, you know, like, with the life I've lived, this is, you know, a small change compared to that, and brings me the happiness I need, you know, like, when I climb something, you know, this used to be more in effect, but now I'm just, like, I'm in love with what I do, but it used to be, like, I used to, you know, because when I first started climbing stuff, like, I was definitely more in a depressive state and more, not really, like, acting on suicidal thoughts, but I would just get that, like, I'm sure anyone with depression can understand this, like, that I'd be better off dead kind of feeling, you know, or just, like, fuck life, you know, I just feel like giving up. And, you know, those thoughts still loom over me, but it's really all about how I deal with them. But anyways, so when I got into climbing, you know, I really took, like, that wanting to die feeling away, because, you know, I would be up, like, I was actually scared to die when I'm up on these places. Like, I'm scared to do this, I'm scared to do that. So it really put the fear of death into me, even though, like, I'm not afraid to die, but now I feel like I don't want to die. Like, I've got something more to live for, I guess, in a sense, you know. It's like when you're, you know, at a point where you could just die, you could just jump off, you realize that, you know, that's not what you want to do, I'll tell you that, you know. So, I mean, it is dangerous, and if you're ever going to do it, make sure you're prepared, you know. Do all the things you need to do to be prepared. Try, you know, climbing something much lower to the ground, see if you can do it, whatever, you know. It's not for everybody, but for me, it works, you know. I love that feeling of, like, it's also an accomplishment, right? Conquering, like, a big tower, you know. I climb cranes, whatever. When you get to the top, there's no other feeling like it, you know. And you don't have to go along that route, you know. Like, I do trespass to do these kind of things, right? Which I know isn't 100% right, but that's, you know, part of the thrill for me. But you can do this on mountains, you can go camping, whatever, you know. There's a whole bunch of things to enjoy out there that literally don't involve drinking. And if you are ever going to drink, or, you know, I definitely don't recommend any hard drugs, like, or chemicals, fuck that. But, you know, as I said, I smoke my weed, and drinking is fun every once in a while, you know. It can definitely add to an experience in the right amounts and right places, but, you know, if you're gonna drink, like, it should be adding to an experience, not be the whole experience. Like, you know, I know a lot of people that do just drink all the time. I'm sure they're bored as hell with it, but, you know, that's the only thing they see that's fun, right? So I don't blame them, but, you know, before you know it, it can be a life of misery, and you may never even know it, right? Like, it just, like, that kind of lifestyle just takes shots at you, and you don't even realize that. You're so used to, like, that destructive, self-destructive mindset that, you know, it doesn't even bother you anymore. But, you know, the people around you see it, right? Especially if they're, like, pretty much dead sober like me, you know. I can notice a lot that people don't notice, in my opinion. But, yeah, just, like I said, hobbies, find something you want to do, even if it costs a bit of money. That's like, you know, my camera is very expensive, but, you know, I worked my way up to it. I started with something crappy. You can, like, for, you know, the price of a hefty drink, and now you go out and spend $300 on drinking, you can go buy yourself a camera, or, you know, take a month off from drinking, you can buy yourself a motorcycle. If you don't have your license too, that's a very good thing, you know. My license was, like, the key to freedom for me, and my life changed after that. Like, the world seems a lot bigger when you got a driver's license, I'll tell you that. And then you work your way up to a car, you know, and, like, And, you know, as much as people think they can be functional, like, and it is possible, but, you know, you're always going to have the chance of having that taken away if you're in that kind of lifestyle, you know what I mean? Like, you know, especially with drinking, really drinking or drugs, like, you know, you've got insurance to pay, you've got responsibilities, you know. I love, like, for me personally, I love having a license, I love having those freedoms, and I would never do anything to fuck it up, even though I have come close, but I've gotten lucky, and, you know, I just think before I do things, and for me with drinking, I can't think before I do things, so the only thing I can think about is not drinking, right? But, yeah, like, even with the license, you know, you're an alcoholic, you're eventually going to get a DUI, like, I hate to say it, but it's going to happen, you know. If you don't, you're very lucky, you're just great drivers, I don't know, but yeah, just don't do it. So yeah, there's getting a license. I mean, if you're younger and you're feeling trapped in a sense because, you know, you still live with your parents, my recommendation would be to try to move out on your own, not for the freedom to drink and party like a lot of people want to do when they're young, but just to get that sense of responsibility, because that helps a lot too, you know. Like, having to adult really takes your mind off of just wanting to party. And, you know, some people can adult just fine and party their whole lives, and some people just try to adult and end up just partying, and they don't have money for any of the good things life has to offer, like internet or having a good amount of food in your fridge, or, you know, just upping your quality of life. It's almost impossible to do that. Like, I'm just, you know, I'm telling y'all my take on life, you know, what I've learned, and, you know, I don't have much, you know, to my name, but I'm happy with the things, like, that I've, you know, have in my life. I'm happy with the people around me, and I'm happy with, you know, the experiences I have. Like, it's another thing, be grateful for what you got, right? Like, you know, it could always be worse, you know, like, if you're gonna try to escape from reality by drinking or doing drugs, just remember, like, life could always be worse. If you've got a roof over your head and food on the table, you're doing a lot better than most people in this world. I hate to say it, you know, this is first world problems, really, right? Like, you go and look at other countries and they're just so happy to have food after a couple of days, right? So these are like the little things, you know. I'm trying to explain my version of the little things, because I think the little things are really what count in life. It's not all about, you know, being successful and having all the money in the world, and, you know, half the time when you're in that position you're just arrogant. It's not about that. It's being happy, at least for me, you know. I try to live like a simple life where, you know, I feel like this might come from being institutionalized, but I'm happy with, like, you know, a small room, just having what I need, you know, and trying to up my quality of life the best way I can, really, you know. And it's little things, and for me, like, not drinking or doing drugs has helped a lot, because I have a lot more money just, you know, from not doing those things, you know. Like, no reason I can't survive and give myself a half decent life, right? Or, you know, like, I can't imagine being in the place I was, you know, maybe 5-6 years ago, and then thinking about trying to support a family in the future, even. Like, it just, I know people make it happen, but for me it doesn't seem plausible. Like, it's not gonna have a good outcome. It might happen and be possible and flourish just fine, but I don't think, you know, it always has a positive outcome, right? And, you know, you've got to think about, now it's like, to the point, if you want to have kids or whatever, what kind of world are you going to bring them into? Because if you're, you know, an alcoholic or drug addict, it's not going to be good for them, you know. So I don't know, that's going off on a bit of a tangent, but as far as trying to stay sober, sometimes you may need to pick new friends. You really got to test yourself. For me, like, one thing I realized, you know, a habit I developed without even thinking about it, but when somebody offers me a beer, I always say no first, you know, and then it just gives me time to think about it, whether I actually want one. Usually I don't want one, because I don't even like the feeling of, you know, being buzzed. I'd rather just fall asleep after, but, you know, I'm just like, I want to be sober again, I want to have a clear mind. But yeah, I'll always say no when someone offers me a beer. It's just a habit I developed without even realizing, which is a good thing, because then I have time to think and process whether I actually want to have a beer. Or it's like, okay, I'll think about it, I'll maybe, you know, it's kind of a weird thought process, but maybe I'll be excited about having a beer, but I'll give that a couple hours so that by the time I actually have a beer, it's like too late into the night for me to even get fucked up. Because I have like a weird schedule, right? But like if it's after 2 o'clock or midnight even, there's no way I'm drinking, because, you know, I just don't want to, even though I'm like a night owl, I don't, like, it just gives me anxiety, you know, pushing my night until the next day, because, you know, that, like, most of my drinking nights are spent doing that, right? So something I also forgot to mention is another good thing to do to distract yourself and just, you know, keep your head in the right place is things like go for a walk, get good exercise, enjoy the outdoors. Like, there's, as I said, there's so much beauty, at least in Canada where I'm from, and I know it's everywhere really, but there's waterfalls, there's forests, there's mountains, there's hikes, like, just, you know, I think exploring in any form, whether it's, you know, abandoned buildings or rooftops or whatever, or a forest, or rivers, waterfalls, like I said, I think that's like one of the best beauties in life, you know, like we have so much already on this earth to make us happy, you know, we really didn't need to add chemicals and intoxicants, really. I mean, I enjoy as much as the next guy, but, you know, there comes a point where, you know, you gotta appreciate everything that's around you. Like, there's so much beauty and enjoyment around us, and, you know, like, a lot of us just don't see it, and I've been there. I really have, and I've struggled. Like, couldn't think of anything else that would be fun, to be honest, or, you know, I just couldn't see the light, couldn't see a way out, but eventually, you know, it just kind of set in, it just kind of clicked, and I know it's not easy for everyone. I've been there, I can relate, but, you know, you just gotta really want it, and it'll fall into place in time, and that's really all I can say. But yeah, things like exercise, eating properly, that's a huge thing too, right? Because, you know, when you're properly fed, eating properly, it helps make you feel happier for sure. You know, everyone knows the whole hangry thing, like that's a real thing. I don't always practice this, but getting a good sleep is also good. I mean, I get a good sleep, just not at the right hours. I'm a real night owl. Like, it's currently 3 in the morning as I'm shooting this, but yeah, just do positive things for yourself and things will fall into line. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave this at this pretty much. Just get some hobbies. Hobbies is like the main thing. Just good positive hobbies that make you feel good, you know, because get hobbies, enjoy the little things, make smarter decisions, you know, think before you act, you know, life is a game of chess, not checkers, you know. Always got to think about like 2 steps ahead, and I know that's hard to realize, especially when you're young, or just in general. I know not everyone does, but, you know, guys, I realized like this stuff ain't easy. You know, I've been there. It took me years to get where I am today, and that's years of like pretty much straight sobriety and not doing the same shit I do. You know, everyone who knows me knows I like, you know, my fair share of trouble, but, you know, I try to find positive ways, I guess, to get that out, right? Like I told you, I, you know, do all the climbing and trespassing, I guess, but that's become a part of who I am. I've met some great people doing that, so I mean, maybe that'll work for you. If you're interested in getting into that kind of stuff, maybe go on YouTube, look up urban exploring. So for me, it's a lot of fun. It's like, it's the way I like to party, you know? Like, probably shouldn't be talking about this, but I had an incredible night the other night at a very notorious abandoned prison. We ordered pizza. We had a really good time with some great people, and, you know, it's a night I'll never forget. Those are the kind of memories I'm interested in making, you know. Like, I know when you're young and in the heat of things, like, you think, you know, you're making all these crazy experiences, like, you're just so hype on, you know, the crazy shit you've done tonight or the crazy shit you did last night. But here's the thing, guys, 10 years down the line, like where I'm at right now, you don't remember much of that as much as you'd like to, you know. Maybe you had some great experiences and you remember it thereafter, and it's all good to laugh about with your friends, and I still have great laughs at some of the crazy shit. And on that note, I'll be getting more into that on the next videos, you know, just kind of still in my introduction phase. Like this isn't easy doing what I'm doing, but it's a lot of fun, and I feel fulfilled when I make these videos. But yeah, like if you want to make memories that'll last a lifetime and really experience life, do things sober. I can promise you it is 100% better once you get there. Once you really start to feel genuine happiness again, because that's the thing, like when you're young, I feel like it's harder to feel happiness because, like you're kind of still sheltered, you don't have freedom. Like once life is, there's a bigger picture, once you get all this freedom and you act responsibly with it, you can do whatever you want to do in life. Things you thought were not possible are possible. You can literally do whatever you want, like some nights, I'm not feeling so great, I'll just hop in my car and go for a drive. And I think it's, some people, they can't drive for other reasons, right? Like maybe not being able to see well enough, or, just maybe aren't making enough money. But I think it's always possible. You set your mind to something, you can get anything done. And, I never used to even believe that was possible, but I show myself time and time again that when you set your mind to something, when you're, passionate about something, you can make it happen. If there's a will, there's a way, There's a few different types of people in this world. There's people who watch things happen, there's people who make things happen, and then there's people who don't even know what the hell is going on, right? And you want to be someone who makes things happen. And if you're a person who just watches things happen, that's okay. But that's just me. I think everyone has the power to change their own life. It's just, you got to be the change you want to see, literally, and you've got to. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. So I encourage you all, if you're having issues with this, even whether it's depression or alcoholism or addiction, I encourage you to just try new things. You got to step out of your comfort zone. You got to try to meet new people. You got to just get your shit in order. You got to, reevaluate your life. I think that's something everyone should do all the time, is evaluate what you're doing. Be self-observant. Observe yourself, Because when you don't, you just kind of go on autopilot and let a lot of things happen that, you're probably not okay with, but it's whatever, right? And we live in a crazy world. We're all desensitized by a lot of the shit we see, and, it kind of just it makes it easier for us to look the other way, even if it's with things that we're doing ourselves, right? So anyways, guys, on that note, I think I'm going to end it here. It's been a long week for me, good week, but, just out in Kingston, having a good old time. But I just wanted to get a video out for you guys to make sure y'all know that I'm still here, still going to be posting. Like I said, it's not easy doing this stuff, and, I always have that fear and anxiety that I'm going to lose track, or I'm just going to, I have like this issue where I can have all these great ideas, but actually getting them out, especially when I'm anxious about, speaking to you guys, is a lot harder. But I think I'm doing an alright job, and you guys can let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of the video so far, and anything I can improve on, I'm more than happy to listen to it. And I do have Instagram, Darwinz Theory or Life of Deeg, so if any of y'all feel the need to DM me if you have any questions or whatever, feel free to. I don't discriminate. I'll talk to anyone about anything, really. Anyways, guys, I appreciate y'all showing up. Sorry this one was short and sweet, but, sometimes it's how she goes. And next time I post a video, it should be a good, entertaining, and funny story. Because, as I said in previous videos, as much as, this is a positive, try to help kind of thing, still got to talk about some of the places that alcohol took me, because it's some interesting places, and it's the places where my life took me and the experiences I've had. Definitely some good and bad times. So yeah, on that note, I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys don't mind sharing the video, because I'd like this to get to the right people, that would be great. If not, thank you for watching again. If you don't mind liking the video and subscribing if you enjoy what you're seeing. If not, that's cool too. But I, again, appreciate y'all watching. Until next time, peace.